Hey, with us now from Capitol Hill, Republican Congressman from Virginia, the House Majority Leader, Representative Eric Cantor. Mr. Majority Leader, thank you so much for being with us. I want to ask you something, and for liberals watching, I'm not being negative here, okay? I'm just proving a point with this first question. Eric, how many times the first 2 years did you go to the White House to talk policy with the President of the United States?
Sure you're not being negative?
I'm positive.
Let's just say this, not a lot. And I think the question is, how many times did we go and get some specifics?
Yeah.
And that's what I'm looking for today. Because, you know, in a sense, and not to try and be negative, Joe, but I think this is vintage Obama here. You know, for 2 months now.
Hold on. Let me be positive first, and then you can go negative.
I'm not going negative.
I was just going to say, I do think, though, Eric, that it is a good sign that before the president even talks today, we're going to have leaders get together. You guys and the president work together to avert the government shutdown. And even if nothing comes out of it today, it's a good start, right? That you're sitting down with the president talking policy before his budget speech.
Listen, absolutely the gesture is appreciated. But what we really need to do is we need to get specific here, because for the last 2 months, this White House has refused to really engage in the debate. And remember, when he gave his State of the Union, the president was calling for more investment and just freezing spending, basically no cuts. And what we're seeing now is, hopefully, the willingness for this president and the White House to enter the debate, put a plan on the table, not only to deal with the need for us to reduce spending here and now, but what is it that he wants to do long term to stave off this debt crisis that's threatening to really bankrupt us.
So, Congressman, what specific proposal are you hoping to hear from the president the most today? What would make you think, hey, you know what, this administration is really serious about deficit reduction?
Well, I want to hear how he wants to deal with entitlements. You know, there's been a lot of attacks that have been leveled against us and the Ryan budget plan and what we are looking to do to save the safety net in this country. And unfortunately, there's been no specifics laid out on the part of the White House. Sometimes the president salutes the Bowles-Simpson Commission report, but does not embrace any of the specifics. Other times, we hear speeches given saying that the Gang of Six in the Senate's doing good things. Where are the specifics? Where does he stand?
I'm wondering, though, the bottom line is, doesn't it seem like the ultimate difference in opinion has already been laid out by the Speaker of the House, and that would be on taxes? Are you willing to give in, if the president does, on some other issues that are very serious to you, including some of these entitlement issues?
Mika, we had this debate around the last election. I mean, I remember in December, we all went to the White House, and it was, again, an opportunity for us to work together. And the president and his economic advisors agreed with us and said, now is not the time to raise taxes. And it's sort of ironic now that the president's going to give the speech today while Americans are fast preparing their taxes for the next couple days deadline, that he would even think about proposing a tax increase. What we say in our plan is this. That we have a tax code that is broken. We need to simplify it. We need to make it more equitable. And we, in the Ways and Means Committee, in our hearings, are talking about broadening the base, getting rid of some of the special interest loopholes, so that we can make it easier for folks to comply and ultimately create more economic growth. I think both sides agree you can't do this through cutting alone. You've got to grow this economy. And the question comes down to how you're going to grow this economy.
Congressman, specifics are like ice cream, kind of. We all love them. You love them. Everybody loves them. Specifically, repeal of the Bush tax cuts for the wealthy. Yes or no? You in favor of it?
No, I'm not for repealing the current rates. I mean, that means it's a tax increase.
Just for the wealthy. For people making over, say, $500,000 a year. Are you in favor of it? Yes or no?
I am not in favor of raising taxes right now, period.
It's not a tax raise. It's not raising taxes.
Wait a minute. Sure it is, because right now, I mean, this is the game of words that was played during the last election too.
No, it's money, not words.
Sure it is. It's money. And if you make rates go up, people will pay more taxes. What does that mean? It means taxes are raised.
Wait, Congressman, but the argument from the other side is that we have to raise revenue right now. You can cut all you want, but it's not going to get you where you need to be to eliminate the deficit. So wouldn't part of that be some raising of taxes at some point, even if it's just on the wealthiest Americans?
Look, the question is raising revenues. You're right. And how are you going to raise revenues? Do you just raise taxes and through a magic wand you're going to produce more money? Or do you try and grow this economy? Right now, a tax hike is not going to help grow this economy. You know, we want more jobs, we want more people at work, we want more entrepreneurs to invest money. How do you do that? You don't raise taxes to provide a disincentive for people to put their money to work.
So, Eric, let me ask you about another possibility where you don't raise the tax rates, but Paul Ryan was talking about actually lowering the tax rates, but getting rid of a lot of these loopholes that allow Warren Buffett to pay 14% of his income in taxes, that allow GE to pay 0%. Is that possibly a middle ground where Republicans and the president can come together, getting rid of some of these outrageous loopholes?
Absolutely. And what's happened in this town over the last several decades, and both sides have been responsible for this, and there's plenty of blame for that, is they have succumbed to special interest pressure. And there are industries, sectors of this economy, there are individual companies that have benefited from the pressure they place on this place. You know, it's the ultimate in crony capitalism. If you can go and gain an advantage in the system, you're going to do it to benefit your shareholders. Yeah. Right now, we've got to be for everybody. We've got to be for the bulk of the American people who feel right now they've been left out and don't have a fair shot in this game. And that's what we're trying to do when we say broaden the tax base and simplify the code, you know, and bring down rates.
Nora O'Donnell, I didn't realize until I went to Washington. You always think that K Street lobbyists' #1 job is to get money and appropriate. No, it's not. It's all focused on tax breaks for their business, for their sector. And it is exactly what the majority leader said. It is crony capitalism, and it is why our tax code is a billion pages long and so dysfunctional.
No doubt, and that's why lobbyists make millions of dollars to plug these loopholes into the tax code, and that's why the president, if he were to outline simplifying the tax code just days before everybody's taxes are due, you're right, something that's going to be extremely popular, and Republicans, like the majority leader, Mr. Cantor, can support. I'm not going to proffer opinion on this, but I think we should point out that the Bush tax cuts were followed by the slowest decade of economic growth since World War II. Do I need to say that again?
Well,
given that,
no, you say the slowest decade. Well, let me have Eric. Let me have Eric respond to that.
Again, Nora, I don't know where you're getting those numbers because I think clearly.
Are you saying economic growth was good during the Bush years? Because those are just facts.
Well, we certainly had some intervening events that perhaps may make the comparison to other decades not relevant, not appropriate. I mean, remember what happened in the beginning of the Bush term. This country was shaken by 9/11, and it shook the world. And so, you know, again, we took time for, you know, sort of the readjustment and the rethink here that we need to start thinking the unthinkable.
That's fair.
Listen, but you now have a tremendous problem with unemployment. Okay, and that's where we're trying to focus, is to get people back to work. We've seen an unprecedented increase in spending over the last several years. And again, not to go point fingers and assess blame here, we're trying to fix problems. And what we know right now is we're facing a burden of debt unprecedented in this country, and something that threatens the future of our kids. We're trying to save this country, save the safety nets for those who need them, and then not for those who don't, and then to create a level playing field and to allow Americans to feel like they got a fair shot at earning success.
All right, Majority Leader Eric Cantor.
Thank you, Eric.
I know we got to let you go. The window is closing, but thank you so much for being with us and answering the tough questions. We appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you.